Diese Konferenz wird nun aufgezeichnet.
Okay, that must have been 3 seconds. So welcome everybody to the kickoff meeting of the software focus area of the EMMC ASBL. And let me just move on to the next slide if I find the, let me see, it's always a problem. Okay, here we are. So this is the outline of today's kickoff meeting. The initial team just wants to present itself, and then I will give you some background information and also connect the current activities to related CSA activities of the past years. Then one of the big issues we are dealing with right now in this in the whole of EMMC, and especially in the software focus area, is the International Workshop to take place beginning of March next year. And then we will quickly mention possible task groups and discuss suggestions. And finally, we will wrap up with the next steps and possibly with the discussion, with a vivid discussion. Okay, the initial team consists of Stijn Donders of Siemens Digital Industries in Belgium, Ilian Todorov from Darsbury, and myself. And we have decided that everybody of us gives a very quick introduction of himself. So Stijn, if you would like to start.
Yeah, I did a master in applied physics in the Netherlands and then moved to Belgium for a PhD in mechanical engineering. And I work more in that field now as R&D manager at Siemens in the 3D simulation team. So that is mechanical engineering based on finite elements and also materials engineering, mainly in the continuum domain.
Okay, thank you, Stijn. That's it. So, Ilian, would you like to go next?
Yes. Hello, everybody. I'm a principal scientific officer at Technology Facilities Council in the UK. It's part of the UK Research Infrastructure group, and I lead the computational chemistry group here. My first degree was in nuclear and high energy physics, but then I did a PhD in computational chemistry, where I guess my career took a turn and I got involved a lot in the creation of software. And so since then, after a bout at Cambridge, I became involved in writing and authorship of Deal Poly, a piece of software. And here in my group at Darsbury, we develop other pieces of software that are not just electrodynamics, Monte Carlo, DPD, cheminformatics packages, and so on. So I guess my heart is into the research software engineering to serve the purposes of physics and chemistry. So I guess I've been a proliferator of certain areas like research software engineering and best software practices, but I don't count myself as an influencer, so I don't keep a high profile on networks. I really want to contribute back to the community and help other people follow their passion in the software creation area. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ilian. So I'm in the oldie in the team. So I'm a physicist, theoretical physicist by training. I did my PhD at Darmstadt University on DFT calculations, electronic structure calculations, then moved on to the Max Planck Institute in Stuttgart, where I did my postdoc, and then spent several years as a lecturer and assistant professor. Actually, the correct term in German is Privatdozent at Augsburg University. And right now I'm about to finish my 10th year, the first decade at Materials Design, where I'm part of the contract research team, working together with customers from all over the world. So that's our team right now. Let me move on and discuss what we have in mind with the software focus area. And I just at the beginning want to remind you of the mission and the history of the EMMC, including the EMMC CSA and the current EMMC ASBL. So originally, the main goal of the foundation of the EMMC is rooted in bringing together different stakeholders in Europe to motivate the development of new and improved materials, and to use and to improve existing materials for new applications. So that was the original outset of the EMMC, which was motivated by the European Commission. And right now, the European Materials Modeling Council considers the integration of these efforts, namely the materials modeling and the digitalization, as critical for better product development. And this was the outset then of the in 2014 of the EMMC CSA, which started a lot of network actions and consultation actions to bring together all these different people and thereby to foster the deployment of materials modeling software in Europe. So that's actually the background, and we should keep that in mind when we move on with the EMMC ASBL, and in particular when we want to work in these focus areas and want to bring forward the EMMC. I mentioned already the main goals, and there are more specific goals also formulated by the EMMC. And of course, very critical is the interaction and the collaboration of all stakeholders in the field. This is the basis of what we are doing. And what we want to do is, well, you can see these terms here. I can read them, but I just want to quickly mention and comment on those. You will find all that on the EMMC webpage also. And so the second point is facilitate integrated modeling and digitalization of materials. Increase the awareness and the adoption of materials modeling in industry. This is to some extent already there. European industry is aware of materials modeling, but sometimes the adoption is still waiting, and companies are hesitating to adopt materials modeling software for several reasons. And it's also part of the EMMC, part of the work of the EMMC, to find these barriers and to identify them and to find means to overcome them. And one particular step in that business is to support the software industry for materials modeling. This is one of the stakeholders. If you want to group the stakeholders, then you would say, well, there's academia developing software and developing the more fundamental concepts of software. Then you will find the software industry, if you want to group the stakeholders in this way. And then you have the end users, mainly from European companies, from European industry. And as I mentioned before, one of the important issues is to identify the obstacles to an increased use of materials modeling, and to find ways to go beyond. And this means, to some extent, and to a growing extent actually, to create bridges, to bring together all these people. And this is one of the purposes of the International Workshop, which we are having next year. And that was also the purpose of the previous workshops which we had in the EMMC CSA. And of course, the EMMC also wants to support sustainability of modeling and digitalization in Europe. This addresses, among others, small companies, startup companies who are seeking a business model, and of course we want to help them and consult them and support them. Okay, moving on. If you want, so the final goal of the EMMC, or one of the central goals of the EMMC, is to formulate materials modeling roadmaps. We have started so in the EMMC CSA, and we are continuing this effort. And these EMMC roadmaps identify the obstacles for the use of materials modeling and also recommend strategies to overcome them. And these roadmaps, which we have created so far, have been very much appreciated by the European Commission in a way to find future means to support the European industry and materials modeling in the European industry. Okay, so far about the EMMC as a whole, the EMMC ASBL, and as you know, the EMMC ASBL is grouped into 6 different focus areas, and we are here today together to discuss the means and the goals of the software focus area. Okay, this is also from the web page, and that gives you the main focus of this focus area, which is actually twofold, and it consists of motivating, facilitating, and promoting the transfer of software for computation and material science into ready-to-use tools for industry. So this addresses mainly the software developers, mainly the academic software developers. And the other point is providing a forum, especially for industrial end users, to express the evolving requirements for materials modeling software. So this is more addressing the industrial end users to formulate their needs, their requirements, and the overarching goal is to bring together these groups and these different perspectives in order to bring forward the whole process. So we are guided actually by this main principle. And now I have to see. Okay, here we are. So these are the objectives of the software focus area. Of course, we are dealing with material science. But we are also dealing with methodologies and algorithms. We are also touching with other focus areas of the EMMC, putting some focus on integrability and interoperability, for instance. We have a focus area on interoperability. And we are also dealing with multi-scale modeling. Other issues are ownership, licensing, and legal issues. This is an important point because we realized within the CSA that especially academic groups are not so much aware of the traps they can run into in this field when it comes to all the legal issues. And another important point is the verification and validation of software, which is also sometimes underestimated in academia. Ilya mentioned that he is very much in software and software principles, software development, and Stein is also aware of these issues because he's developing software in industry. So these are very important points which we have to focus on and which we have to make people aware of. At the same time, distribution, documentation, and training is, of course, also important, maintenance and support. And I mentioned that before. This is regards especially to startup companies, for instance, to find models for sustainable software ecosystems. So it's not just writing a piece of code or writing a complete software package, but you also want to find your business model to move forward with what you have created. Okay, let me remind you of some of the activities which we had in 2016 to 2019 within the CSA with respect to software. And as you can see here, these are different efforts, white papers and webinars. We had a white paper on software development. We had a white paper on business models and sustainability for materials modeling software. So these were actually the main aspects which we touched in the CSA. So we also had webinars on best practices, on open source free software and commercial software. So this means license models, introduction to standards and software development, but also these business related issues, namely business models for materials modeling software, and all these there were very nice webinars and white papers organized by Alex and Gerhard. Actually, they did a lot of effort in that context, which is very much appreciated. And we also had examples of successful implementations of software by Georg Schmitz and also by Margot Sater-Zelur. So we had a broad variety of activities related to software and software development and the corresponding business models. So that's all about the background. That's where we stand, and we can move on from that, and we can use all that information and all these activities to bring the software focus area forward. Okay, as I mentioned at the beginning, one of the main issues right now is the organization of the International Workshop, which will take place beginning of March as an online event. And for the software focus area, we have been successful, and we are very happy to have Nicola Mazzari of EPFL as a plenary speaker. He will speak about the digital infrastructures for 21st century science. So I expect a very interesting and exciting talk from him. And in setting up the two sessions which we want to organize, we were guided by these guidelines which I mentioned before, namely these twofold aspects of the focus area, and that led to the creation of two different sessions. The first session is on the industrial requirements to materials modeling software, where the impulse talks shall kick off a discussion about the actual and the future requirements of industrial end users for materials modeling software. So we wanted to have speakers preferably from industry, and we have speakers from industry mainly. And some of the issues which might be addressed by the speakers, but this is just a suggestion, is accuracy versus complexity, something we discussed several times. I remember the Torino workshop, I think that was in 2017, where we had a long discussion about these dichotomy, and where people from industry were mainly interested in complexity rather than in accuracy, but that may change. So we are looking forward to a discussion on that. Other issues which I already mentioned before, integrability and interoperability, multi-scale modeling, and all the other issues which we discussed before. For this session, we are happy to already have two confirmed speakers, namely Kurt Stockbrough, who was very active in the EMMC CSA and has now founded his own company. He has been at QuantumWise, later on Synopsys, and so we are very much looking forward to talk by him. And we have also asked, and we have confirmation by Sophie Lelay of Total, who will also give a talk about the industrial requirements. Okay, the next session, the other session, is the other part of the aisle, so to speak. Namely, it's on from material science software to industrial tools. We expect speakers from all areas, and you will find from the speaker list that we have speakers right now who are mainly from, well, to a majority from academia, namely Scott Woodley of UCL and Ella Tutmore from University of Minnesota. But we have also Flavio Sousa from Siemens, who is also very much involved in the software development. So I again expect a very vivid discussion in this session. And possible issues which might be addressed are sustainable software ecosystems, again, multi-scale modeling, and a software chain, for instance, where you have different pieces of software grouped together and allowing in this way for multi-scale modeling. And we expect that the impulse talks will illustrate ways for better transfer of material science software into industrial tools. So to reach out from academia and from industrial software developers to the end users and thereby bridge the gap between these two groups. And this is actually the combination of these two sessions. And I hope that we will have a mixed audience, people being in one session, also attending the other session, such that we can have a very vivid discussion on these two topics and on the different perspectives. So that's all right now with respect to the preparation of the international workshop. So we are moving very quickly forward on that and making good progress there. And next, let me come to the possible task groups. We are a bit behind with respect to task groups, I should admit, but that means also that there are a lot of opportunities for members of the EMMC to work and to contribute to possible task groups, to found new task groups on different topics. So we are just giving some suggestions here. One task group, of course, may focus on the International Workshop organization and digesting the results later on, which have come out of the International Workshop sessions. And what we have already kicked off, and if I say we, then I mean mainly Ilian, who has spent a lot of time, a lot of effort in kicking off and bringing to the web this software survey, together with the first focus area on model development. So this is out now for a few days right now, and I will give you the link later on, and you will also find the link on the webpage. It's very prominently placed. And other task groups may focus on success stories. We have heard several times from industry and also from other stakeholders that we need more success stories. We have to tell the end users what they can do, which capabilities these software tools have, and it's not just developing a piece of software. You really have to prove what the software can do, and you have to write success stories. And this task group may motivate people to write success stories and also collect success stories. Yeah, one of the task groups which might be essential to the focus area is, of course, bringing together all the stakeholders and developing software and transforming it into industrial tools. I already mentioned activities within the CSA on best practices for software development. So this is also an important area, and we have realized after we published the white paper and after we had given these webinars that there was really a great interest in practices for software development, touching different issues, as I mentioned before, validation, verification, license issues, and so on and so on. And we have been asked to work also on benchmarks, and we have discussed that within the lead team several days ago. And we found that actually it's beyond our own capabilities to perform benchmarks or to initiate benchmarks. But what we can do, and what might be very interesting within the focus area, is to check the literature and to find papers on benchmark calculations of different pieces of software from different fields, and to collect that literature and provide it via our webpage, for instance, and thereby to allow users to check this literature and to see a comparison of different software tools. An issue which is quite often underestimated in its importance is documentation, training, and support. I've learned several times that people are writing software, probably good software, but they do not spend effort in documentation, training, and support. And that actually is eventually a showstopper for industrial use, because as an industrial end users, you really need some documentation, and you need all that. You need help in running software, and you need help if you have problems running software or installing software. So this is quite often underestimated, and we need to put a finger on that. And I mentioned before business models and sustainability, so that's also a big issue, where we may show ways within the task group how people can find their own business. So there are also other possibilities that's up to all of us. We are here to provide a framework for different task groups, and we are happy to learn about more suggestions, more ideas. Okay, what are the next steps? I mentioned already the software survey, which has been put together by the model development focus area and the software focus area, and set in place by Ilian. So this is out now, and you will find it on the webpage. And if not, if you have problems, then contact Ernst-Dieter or Ilian or myself or anybody else of the software focus area. So that's one point. The other point is, the other big issue is finalizing sessions of the international workshop. There's, well, there's probably at the very end, there are still many tiny things to do. Right now we are on track, but we of course would appreciate more ideas and people joining us. And then, as I mentioned before, we want to establish and support task groups within the software focus area. And with that, I'm coming to the end of this presentation, and I thank you very much for your attention. And let's open the floor for discussion. So thank you again very much for your attention. Ernst-Dieter, I think it's your turn now.
If you'd like to. Well, yeah, feel free to discuss. This is the part what I can say. Yeah.
Are there any questions or comments? So everything clear? Are there any suggestions regarding task groups, or is there interest in working together in task groups?
I think if you want to talk, you have to unmute your micro. Because we can't see you.
So, this is Alessandro Fortunelli from CNR Italy. Am I heard?
Yes, yes, perfect.
Okay, so just one small suggestion about the success stories. And my suggestion is that since, I mean, there are problems in industry in sharing success stories. The success stories that I would like to see in the highlighted and spread as a suggestion for industry to for possibilities of using them is from academia, in the sense that successful new materials or successful design aided by computational tools of new materials or something which has led to, for example, patents or something. So success story on the academia point of view, which doesn't have, let's say, IP issues or confidentiality issues. This is my suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's a very good and important point. Yeah, and I fully understand what you mean. So if you look, for instance, at publications from academia, you quite often have, well, from my field, you have publications on ideal materials, and you ignore, for instance, vacancies or other defects in materials, and you just do a calculation for the ideal material, and then you publish it, and then you say, well, it's fine. But this is actually not the truth, or not the full truth, and this is quite often not what industry is interested in, because if you have real materials, you have many other issues which you have to deal with. Yeah, and of course the intellectual property issue, or the problem that you cannot publish, or only under restriction you can publish if you're in industry. That's clearly an issue, but I could tell you from our own experience at Materials Design, we also have customers from big companies who really want to publish together with us, and because they want to show the community what they are doing, and that they are doing good stuff. So we have a lot of publication with industrial customers. So that's possible, and maybe that's one of the things software companies should do, to also provide success stories and to publish them.
Can I just intervene here? And I have 2 comments. I mean, many companies and of course academic institutions do work together, and both the academic institutions and companies have impact managers. So even if not the full study is revealed, usually enough is revealed on the websites of the particular communities, which are academic, or the particular companies. And the example would be, at least here in the UK, I would say the Medical Analysis Group Limited is a software company. So they do have their sort of case studies that they publish, or they even go to supercomputing and so on to advertise those, or the European supercomputing. And then particular communities like CCP5 or high-end computing communities like Material Chemistry Consortium do have their success stories on websites. So I'm sure that something can be arranged. And also the second issue I want to point out to is that any ideas suggested here, by all means, we want to be very open and use the forum facility on the EMMC website. So please put them there, and these things can be ranked, and we can look at what is the most important of those that we need to focus on. It's not just a survey that I compiled, but all ideas go, because a survey is just a limited set of questions that we have thought about. And even though we have opened some boxes for you to express opinions, we cannot sample the full extent of everybody who is in the research area of software engineering and materials modeling.
Yep. Thank you. Let me just add. So again, going back to Materials Design, to my own company, we have a collection of what we call application notes, which you can access from our webpage. I don't want to advertise that. I just want to mention that these are to some parts demonstrations of work together with customers, but also to some part these are just coming out from test calculations which we have performed and which we have published. So these application notes usually extend over 2 or 3 pages and give you a quick expression of what you can do with the software. And these are actually real world examples. And I've seen Umberto on the list here of the attendees, and probably at Synopsys you have the same. You have on your webpage examples of how the software can be applied and what it can do, and which success stories you can generate with the software. And especially Synopsys has published, and Quantumwise before, they have published a lot on the use of their software and provided example applications. But I fully agree. I mean, we have to do more on that.
Also, something that I besides success stories, which would refer to industry and things that to sell the software to sell the software ID to industry, I think there's also the other side of it, which is open questions or challenges that haven't been solved. Because I think as a startup, it's very daunting to try and find cases that the industry has that you would like to solve. Because if you're not already a big company, it's very hard to get an ear in with any industrial leaders. So something I would definitely be very interested in if we could have some sort of industrial challenges cases out there that where they are feeling that the modeling is at the moment falling short.
Yeah, thank you, Mats. That's a very good point. I remember a talk given by Hans Sasse at one of the Uppsala meetings 3 or 4 years ago, where he was reporting on a round-robin test for molecular software. I don't remember the details. You can look that up. That was on one of the Uppsala meetings. But these are very high-ranking challenges for software tools, and everybody could join that test and do their own calculations. And then eventually there was a ranking which software did the best. So that's a particular field, of course. But yeah, one could think of that also for other fields.
Any more questions? Ideas?
At any rate, please go to the survey and fill it. Fill the survey forms, the questionnaire. That is very much appreciated.
Yes, hi. Can I just got in. Sorry for I had another meeting. This is Giancarlo Francese from Barcelona, and I did a survey. I like it. I found it interesting. And one of the points that I would like also to raise here is that for us doing research in the academy, one of the big issue is really to be able to develop software in a way that is consistent and useful for many other people. So what we usually do is to try to use GitHub and you know, this sort of resources that you can have free online, and make your best to make your software available and usable by other people. But of course, we do not have all the skills, professional skills, to do it. So it would be very interesting if this work group could help somehow to find the connection between those like me doing this sort of thing in the academics and people that is doing in a professional way, and develop ideas together. So what do you think about that?
That's a very good idea. Did you read the white paper which was written by Kurt Stockrow and myself on software development, where we also, well, very briefly and on a very basic level touched some of these issues, and we also gave a webinar later on in that year. I think it was in 2018.
No, maybe I did not actually.
Yeah, so it's mentioned on one of the early slides of this presentation. Let me see if I can go back there. No, it was here. So that was the white paper, and we have the webinar. You can find all that on the webinar on the webpage of the EMMC. There's a link to the old CSA, and there will you find. You can find all. It would
be nice to share. As I mentioned, I was late. I'm sorry for being late, but so it would be very good to have your presentation available on the web, I guess.
It will be on the web. And if you have problems finding these webinars, just send me an email and I can send you the link. I can find it.
Thank you.
So that shouldn't be a problem. So we discussed some of the issues you raised within the CSA already. But yeah, I think it's a very good suggestion for a task group. And I mean, I just invite you to join and to collaborate in the task group.
Sure, I will. Thank you.
I just also wanted to discuss to have a little comment on that, because I think what is really critical in order to get more in touch with the professional software community is to engage with it. If you can't expect to be sitting in your own office and have them come to you. I think what I also realized that sometimes you have to attend meetings about software developments, and you have to and if you have some money, hire a freelancer for a while to look over your code, and so I would say start engaging with the people who have that knowledge, and very soon your own level will increase very much.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. The point is exactly how to engage. In the sense that is what I guess that we could do here from here is to provide this opportunity to engage, like you know, giving tools on the web and making connections. You know, helping people to engage, as you are correctly saying.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just distracted. Yeah,
obviously we can advertise.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Other initiatives. Sorry, Volker, you're overlapping.
No, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
So the research software engineering has you can go and they have this source initiative, and also you can find out that there are other bigger worldwide initiatives like software carpentry where you can learn or you can teach others. So there are plenty of resources, and we can advertise those on EMMC as well, or at least within our forum on the Focus Area forum.
And in general, let me just add, we shouldn't overestimate software in itself. So software is of course important, and it should be verified and validated and all that kind of stuff. But what is important, that goes again into the success stories, is to demonstrate what the software can do, and thereby to get in touch with the end users. For an end user, a software is just it's something abstract, but they want to see what you can do with the software. So putting a piece of code or a complete software package on GitHub is quite important, but I would guess that while only very few industrial customers will have a look at GitHub and search for software, but they have the problems they want to solve, and so one has to go, as a software developer, one has to go one step further, and this is actually where the commercial software developers may have a little advantage. I mean, they're used to it to some extent. They move forward and they go to the customers and demonstrate what they can do, and then the customer can decide, well, this is something I would like to have and I would like to use.
Yes, of course, and you know the GitHub was just to give a reference from the academic articles, you know, in such a way that people reading the articles can then find the software. But of course, yes, that definitely it is what I was mentioning. We lack this expertise to improve we usually develop codes for some specific problem, experiment, typically something related to some experiments or something like that. And then, of course, this could be helpful also for other systems, other problems. But you need the connection, as already mentioned, to find these other opportunities to develop the code.
Yeah, but you still have the opportunity as a software developer. If you think that your code adds value for industrial customers, then what you could do is you could contact commercial software developers, like for instance Synopsys or Materials Design or the other players, SCM in Amsterdam, and all the other players which are on the market, and show them what your software can do, and ask for possible collaboration. That's another way you could go. And
yes,
in that way you could provide your software, but you could also use the expertise of these partners, and maybe some of these partners are happy to use your software and to bring your software to the market, or they can tell you what, that's not useful for us, or they could tell you what, that looks promising, just spend some more effort in this direction, and then we can talk again.
No, indeed, this is exactly what I was mentioning. That is what we need, somehow a connection with this sort of informations and resources. Because honestly, I don't think that many of my colleagues would know where to find software companies, because we usually from the academics we are very much used to use or our own codes or some codes that has been freely developed by other academics or something like that. And in some cases, of course, you also use some commercial software, but then it's usually is not, it's something that you use it because you cannot do it by yourself, let's say. So it's too complicated. So it's too far from what you are doing. So this intermediate step that you're mentioning, to contact somebody that could be potentially interested and discuss with this commercial partner if there is the opportunity to develop something that could be useful for others, it's something that requires additional information, and this is not easy to get, let's say. So this is what I'm saying, that maybe this work group could provide this sort of tools, how to contact, like a database or something that could be, handy for this step that you are mentioning.
Yeah. In that context, what is also very important is that, as an academic software developer, one has to be aware, very aware of robust software. So it's not just creating software which for a certain purpose, which can calculate something, but this should also be tested. It should really be robust. As an industrial end users, you don't want to mess up with problems of the software. So I mean, your time is limited, and you want to use the software and you want to be efficient in using the software. So the software should really add some value to your work. So,
I understand. Yes, I agree. That's what when I mentioned professional people working in this should be, the part that I'm personally, for example, I'm talking for myself, of course, I'm not a software developer, in that that's not my primary goal. I'm doing, modeling and of course, computational methods for calculating things with these models, but I'm not a professional in software development. So first, my skills are limited, and then also my resources are limited. So I do not have all the time to do these kind of things, but I could For example, I could pay somebody within a, I don't know, a European project or whatever, to have these assistance, this sort of collaboration, and to, you know, as you're mentioning, to do all these steps that are intermediate steps before going to something that is, of course, with a different aims, you know, like a commercial thing, or even if not commercial, at least with a wider aims in general, you know, and so, but all these steps are intermediate steps that are not easy to perform when you do not have all the resources and the knowledge to do that. And I say we need these intermediate, you know, to find somebody that it could be potentially interested and also with the skills to that, and eventually to involve in a project, or you know, as an external provider, all these kind of options that we usually have with projects.
Yeah, that's indeed very difficult, because I guess all of us who, as we are here, we all have not learned anything or much in software engineering, for instance. So most of us probably, or all of us have a scientific background, and we know what we are doing scientifically, but having a background in software engineering, I think that's very rare in the field.
But maybe that's what we need to do this step forward. I don't say that we need to develop by ourselves these skills. I'm saying that maybe from here, what we can do is to provide help to those that want to do this step in connecting with somebody that has these skills. Again, for example, if I'm doing a European project, I have to do a deliverable that is, you know, some software. It could be one of the possible deliverable of my project, and I have all the ideas, I have all the preliminary skills to start doing a software, but then I do not have the, let's say, the skills to make it, as you were saying, robust for any other kind of possible applications, you know, related to my original idea, all these kind of things. And maybe I need, you know, I will need to find somebody that is able to provide these sort of skills, of course, as a partner or as an external provider. But yeah, that's this connection with this category of professionals is something that maybe we lack, and it could be useful, in my opinion, to have this, to provide from here, from this working, this sort of help. I mean, in connection. I mean, the help in connecting, not in doing the steps.
I think that already exists, and if you tap to the research software engineering community, you will find out that these people exist. They're difficult to come by, but they do exist. I mean, sometimes it's difficult to get them on a project because they already have projects that are lined up. You just Google research software engineering, and you'll find out that many countries actually have those associations. And here in the UK, we made that into to a charity organization. So we are actually beyond the society.
Right. But as you are saying, that these are difficult to involve, right? So we should find somebody that is more you know, available and somehow more interested.
For example, my group provides that expertise, and we have projects with others. And within the UK, there is a network of REC groups, and we sort of trade each other. If we don't have the expertise within the group, other groups take on to actually be the project partners of those that's needed within our own institutions. So we have such a network here. You know, that's why we are so strong. Some universities have realized that this is what they need to support, and they support that on overheads. But quite often you may not have the actual expertise in-house, so you contract someone else at a different university. There's a whole network, and if you join the society here in the UK, or if you join the REC in your own country, I don't know whether the one exists in Italy, you will find out that
I'm in Spain.
Oh, you're in Spain. So yes. I know about Germany, sort of the Netherlands and other states. I don't know about Spain, but obviously that move exists, and it's quite strong. So I don't know how universities have arranged that between themselves and whether such groups do exist in Spain, but they do exist in other European countries. And by all means, you can tap and send messages on the RSC channel. So we have a Slack channel, and you can find people that are interested to take on projects and participate, scope projects with you, and engage on it. You know, as I say, I am one of those people.
Yeah, no, that's good, very good to know, and it's great that this network exists. Honestly, I don't know them. That's the point I'm raising. In the sense that maybe, as you're mentioning that these are available, I guess that you're referring to the web page that is now on the screen, right?
Yeah.
This expert meeting on would be.
Yeah.
Okay, I will definitely take a look. And this is the web. This web page is the web page of the working group.
You can go to the web page of the EMMC ASBL, so the current web page, and I think there is an entry about the years 2016 to 2019, and there you can access the web page where all this information is on.
Do you mind to put to copy on the chat here? I guess we have a chat, right?
I cannot switch the screen because I have.
Sorry. So no, just to copy. If there is a chat, just to copy the address, so it would be easier.
Yeah, I don't have the address here available because then I would show you confidential information.
Okay.
And that's,
Thank you.
Sorry. Okay, we are approaching. Ilian has put that on here.
That is the society within the UK, but you know there are branches of the MOVE or the associations that you can find in other countries. I'm trying to find the link to the general website for other countries.
And Giancarlo,
yes.
Dieter has also added in the chat the link to the white paper for standards.
Yes. I'm just checking. Thank you very much for the links. Thank you.
Okay, we are approaching the top of the hour, or even beyond that. So are there any other questions or discussion points? If that's not the case, then I think we can close the meeting. And Dieter, is that okay with you? Ilian, Stein, okay with you?
Absolutely fine with me, yes. As I said, you know, please go to our forum and any ideas or suggestions, because once you put it there in writing, at least one of us, the leads in this focus area, will have to respond, or we'll have to talk to each other and find out, you know, what is our best action to this. You know, we want to see people engaging with us and sharing what kind of problems or success stories they have, for that matter. So please do.
I think these are very good final words, Ilian.
Okay.
So, yeah, go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you for joining this webinar and for the kickoff meeting of this software focus area of the EMMC. The recording will be available and also the presentation on the forum post, and we hope to see you soon again. Thank you and goodbye.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.